What's up, everybody? We are live on Periscope and Facebook. Oh, I may have to trick the D-Live into streaming, because normally D-Live is right in there with Facebook. YouTube is live, everybody. We're also on TalkStream Live. Let me toggle the D-Live to make sure it gets going. Hello to Mark Jones, Casimir K. I don't want to read Solo's name. It's funny. Hake, says Mark, living the dream. I'm just toggling the D Live to make sure that you guys get going. It is Tuesday, 9:02 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time. Live on the Hake Report. And it is December 1st, 2020. Nice. We are live with D Live. I like to make sure that that happens. I'm going to be talking about, well, I'm going to touch on the crime stats and the population, just to, I don't know, just take a useless stab at trying to explain to the blacks who aren't even open to the truth anyways. About, no. Indeed, black violent crime is out of control. Jeez. The people in denial about it are out of control too. Yeah. I will also touch on some updates on the election. Yesterday, FYI, I don't have a lot of details on it, but yesterday, FYI, Arizona people had a hearing. The people who care, the 9 Republican state officials, elected officials, who care, held a meeting and a hearing in Phoenix with the Trump team, right? And then I guess today, I think it's Michigan holding a hearing, or was holding a live hearing earlier this morning. So it's interesting. The different states, there are a select few fighting back. Beats Patrick says, we are winning a great hearing yesterday, and Biden might be wearing an ankle bracelet. Oh, well, he's wearing a boot. He's going to be wearing a boot for the next while. Are you talking about to keep him in house arrest or something? Wishful thinking. I will also touch on this POC and female-led freedom force that you heard about on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. It's ridiculous. And also that female LA County Board of Supervisors supervisor woman who said, it's too dangerous. We got to shut this down, this outdoor dining stuff, right? We need to follow in the footsteps of London and Paris. And then that night, she went and ate at an Italian restaurant. Bill Malusian on the case. He got a lot of tips. Thank you to the people of Los Angeles. Right on. And some other things. I didn't get to touch on that anti-Semitism stuff that I mentioned I was going to get to yesterday, so I want to talk about that as well. And of course, your calls, lots of people already on hold, 888-775-3773. But now, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, isn't it interesting how people will just believe lies and repeat lies and push lies and just be shameless about it? It's just shocking. This stuff with the election, they're calling Biden president-elect, and this stuff with black violent crime, they're saying it's not that big of a problem. White-on-white crime is the problem. 90% or 90-something% of black violent crime is against other blacks, but, well, 87% of white crime is against other whites. But that's just the proportion of crime. They're not talking about the prevalence of the crime. The prevalence of the crime, let's say a white town has One murder a month. That's one murder too many. Let's say a black town of a similar population has one murder a week. That's one murder a week too many, but that's more than 4 times as many murders from a similar population as the one murder a month. And yeah, roughly 90% of those murders in the white town will be other whites. And 90% of the murders of the black town will be against other blacks. But there's 4 times as many murders by the blacks. Duh. But people, like the Bible go-to guy pointed out, find me a white version of Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago, Bloomington, what's that one that is very degenerate, has Mardi Gras? New Orleans. Find me a white, any of those cities that you don't want to go there. Yeah, I know in Appalachia they're supposedly poor, right? But are they crime-ridden? I think it's pretty sparse. And they say, oh, well, it's just because of population. When you bunch everybody up, they start killing each other. People are just atheists, basically. They don't believe in common sense or God or morals or character. They said, oh, you just need more stuff. You're hungry. That's why you're stealing and killing and murdering and lying and crying racism about it. So let me just explain to you. I looked up from census.gov, U.S. Census Bureau, quick facts, United States. And yes, I acknowledge these are a bunch of liberals who are running the government. Some of the numbers, though, are accurate, right? Here's the population of the United States according to the Census Bureau. 328 million people. 328.2 million people. And 76% are so-called whites. Which is laughable because by whites, they mean whites, probably white Jews, probably definitely white Hispanics. And so when you cut out the white Hispanics, white non-Hispanics are 60% of the population, down from 63 in recent years. Roughly 197 million whites in America, white non-Hispanics. Hispanics are like 18.5% of the population, about 61 million people. That's what they're saying. That's what they think. Blacks, 13.4% of the population. I have these laid out in this FBI. It's in the FBI folder. 44 million roughly, right? 44 million blacks, 197 million whites. So what is that? Roughly 197 divided by 44. 4.5 times as many whites as blacks. Asians, almost 6%. Indians, about 1%, 1.5%, a little less. Interesting, huh? And so when I looked at the 2018 crime in the United States, expanded homicide data, table 6 from the FBI website. And the FBI, as I said, are a bunch of liberals. They do hate crime stuff and anyway, hate crimes are fake crimes, right? The actual crime is not the fake thing, but the hate part of it is fake. So here are incomplete numbers from the FBI, because the FBI doesn't tally all numbers nationwide. They don't track everything that happens in America. They mostly get their data from the cities that send them the info. White murder victims, homicide victims, according to this 2018 numbers, pretty recent year, white victims, 3,315 of murders. Black victims of murders, 2,925. White victims by white offenders, 2,677. Black victims by black offenders, 2,600. So looking at those raw numbers, it makes it look like whites and blacks are killing about the same number of each other. Whites, 2,677. Blacks, 2,677. But remember the numbers of blacks that there are in the country versus the numbers of whites that there are in the country. 4.5 times as many blacks. I mean, as many whites as blacks. Therefore, Blacks are 4 times as likely to kill each other. Duh. And by the way, black on white murder, 514. Year after year, it's about 500, give or take. Sometimes it approaches 600 whites murdered by blacks. And year after year, it's like 250, 230, 260 something whites who murder blacks. So there's more than twice as many whites getting killed by blacks as blacks killed by whites every year. Quite small in terms of the numbers, right? But it's more than twice as many raw numbers whites getting killed by blacks. And you consider the population? Do that 4.4, whatever? 4.4 times, let's see, 514 divided by 234 is 2.2 times 4.4. Blacks are 10 times as likely to kill whites as whites are to kill blacks. No wonder they clutch their purse, those women. As if that's going to stop them from getting killed. But just an FYI. But we need criminal justice reform. And they count this stuff by victimization, right? The victimization rate. And they usually count it by 100,000, right? There are, let's see. There were 226,77 whites killed by white offenders. You divide that by 197 million, you get 1.4 victims of white-on-white crime, of white-on-white murder per 100,000. 1.4 per 100,000. You get 100,000 people, 1.5 of them will get killed. You get 100,000 blacks, 2,600 divided by 44 million. You'll get roughly 6 killed per 100,000. 1.5 or 6? Which is bigger? Which is 4 times bigger? Blacks. Black on black crime. Roughly 4.2 times. Blacks roughly 4.2 times as likely to kill each other. Hopefully you were able to follow that. I just had to share that with you. Ridiculous. There you go, Ronnie. Hopefully you open your eyes. But, you know, I blame the dishonest mainstream media, too, for this lie that they keep on citing. Because I've seen it cited in, like, MSNBC and others. Yeah, blacks think we're happy to report this. No, actually, it's getting worse across the board, the violent crime. And thanks in part to Black Lives Matter and the idiots who turn their back on cops. Yes, cops are getting, as with the rest of the population, corrupt. There are some who are getting corrupt. But all cops are awesome. I'm just going to go like ridiculous, the opposite direction of the all cops are B words, which is what the Black Lives Matter and Antifa scum of the earth say. What good has it done blacks to be hating cops for the past several decades? Because it's been decades. And I want to say it's been several decades. It's been at least a few. So it hasn't done them well. It won't do us well. Yeah, there's right and wrong done. But we have to stick with what's right. And as Jesse Lee Peterson has said, if you hate anybody, even if they're wrong and they're you have valid complaints against them, you're in for trouble. It's just a fact, Jack. Let me read a few super chats, and I want to actually get right to a few calls right off the bat here. Jesse Lee Peterson hosting the Hake Report, nice, on DLive. DLive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson and DLive.tv/The Hake Report. Noah's Ark, Kansas with a diamond. Thank you, man. Lin Yen Shin says, pure European descent is less than 50% of the United States. Wow, where'd you get that? It might be true, though. Lin Yen Shin gave a diamond and said it's closer to 6 times more likely for black crime. Yeah, when you account for the murders in general, yes, blacks are like 6 times more likely to commit murder. We blacks be experts of crime, yo, says Lin Yenshin. Yeah, he's black. He's mixed. Lin Yenshin says, hit like or mama gonna beat you with the slow stick. You know what? There's something else that's kind of funny in terms of these stats, in terms of the population number. They say mixed race people are 2.8% of the population, but it's way more than that. Because so many people are mixed, like... isn't it said that, I don't know if it's true, isn't it said that blacks who aren't dark black, they're by definition mixed? Is that true? That's what they say. But maybe it's not mixed enough to be, especially if you tend to identify as black if you have any black in you. Whatever. Yeah, Hispanics by definition are mixed race. They're part Indian, or this part of the people that were here, and then they're part Spaniard or whatever. Some of them were more Spaniard than Indian. Some of them were more Indian than Spaniard, or whatever you want to call it, Aztec and all that stuff. The Oaxacans are real short and dark, whereas some of the lighter ones are running the place down there into the ground, by the way. They're not doing a very good job. Let me get to Social Pariah in Denver, Colorado. By the way, speaking of not doing a good job, hang tight, Social Pariah, false start. You know how in the Hake News at the end of hour 1 today, after that ridiculous funny call from, well, it wasn't, I mean, it was funny, from Earl, the black first-time caller who called into the Jesse Lee Peterson show, who said, there are more Christians in Africa than anywhere else in the world. And Jesse was like, those are Christians in namesake only. I found out that there's like comparable numbers of so-called Christians down in South America, Latin America. Pointing south. I think that's south. Yeah, or actually it's more that way because you have to go, as you go down, doesn't it go that way? Yeah, so come on. And then those people, they're not running it well. And so many of them are socialist countries, which by definition is an atheistic concept. They're just useful idiots. It's a false Christianity. And as Jesse Lee Peterson pointed out, based on his biblical question of last week, the lesson of which is continuing into this week, the Christians here in America are even rejecting Christ. They're rejecting what Jesus said. Interesting, huh? So, all those so-called Christians who are in South America, they're not leading their country. They're not being a light by very much in their country. There are some. We hear from people in various places: Argentina, Brazil, Costa Rica. That's not South, but anyway, that's that. Now back to social. Well, now for the first time to Social Pariah today, Denver, Colorado. Social Pariah, it's good to hear from you.
What's going on, Hake?
Hey.
I wanted to touch on crony capitalism and what that guy, the guy that called in to Jesse the other day about college versus the trades.
About college versus the trades? Okay. Crony capitalism. Crony capitalism is, define it for me.
Well, just that, like the big industry and stuff like Soros and people like that, whenever they, they kind of like, they wind up helping each other over others first. There's kind of like a networking system where,
All
you
right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, when I think of crony capitalism, I do think of, yes, like social activists getting over involved, like the billionaire activist types, like Soros and all that. But I also think of the just dishonesty in general, but mixing in with the government, like these big businesses that mix in with the government and influence the government, and the government will do things that help them, but that hurt the smaller guys who are coming up, their competition. I think of that. And the lobbies from these groups,
I don't guess there has
influence
to be one
for the worse.
specific definition. But I mean, you know,
Are you on a
think-
speakerphone, social pariah? You're coming in rough right now.
no, on this regular phone.
Oh, you just switched.
But what I was saying though is like with you know, as far as like with colleges and stuff, don't you think that there's kind of like, I mean, like you know, Tucker Carlson the other day made a good point about Fredo. You know, he got into Harvard, Yale, one of those.
Wow. You
And he
talking
got
about
it on-
Cuomo? Chris Cuomo, Fredo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do kind of network, you know, I mean, he probably wasn't the best qualified. In college today, I mean, unless you're going for engineering or medical, computer programs can do almost anything. You don't have to be able to spell. I mean, it corrects your grammar.
Yeah.
You could do probably most any job if you just have a year of learning the program.
Right.
And I think whenever Trump was in office, that was kind of, you know, there was a better shot of people that were non-college graduates getting a fair shake with corporations and stuff because they had to. They're like, Trump was saying either you're going to hire within or you can sell to somewhere else. You won't sell in America.
Okay.
And I think that the people that, you know, that voted for Biden thinking that he was going to be the fair shot for people with, you know, without college educations was a false hope on their part. They're going to really regret it because they're going to go all in. You're going to have a college degree for almost everything from if
You think so?
Democrats stay in power.
You think
I
so?
believe so, yeah.
How would they do?
I think
How would
that-
they be able to do that?
Well, I mean, you know, they're already in bed with big tech and Soros and all the major corporations that wanted Biden in office. There's a big network. I don't really know how all of it works.
And so the big corporations are going to say you have to have a college degree if you want to work for us. Is that what you're saying?
They already do. They were headed that direction before Trump.
Oh, I
interrupted their
see.
plans.
I see what you're saying. And then the small businesses that are sensible, that don't care, they're getting stamped out of existence. And so there's fewer opportunities for people who don't have the college degree. And
Yeah,
they can't even necessarily start businesses because Democrats are so anti-enterprise, anti-being self-responsible. Yeah. Interesting point.
Yeah, these useful idiots that, you know, they voted for Biden slit their own throat. I mean, because if Texas flips, which in all likelihood, if they grant amnesty, it will.
Yeah. I mean,
We're not going to see a Republican for a long time.
Unless things turn around, unless the people really
I don't think they will.
repent, then you're right. It's just a matter of time. It seems like it's inevitable. Not that I want to predict the future. I don't know the future. Maybe we can turn things around. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Interesting, man.
too much of your time. I just wanted to see your thoughts on that.
I agree. It's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of this scam somebody made the point. I was reading, I think it was that independent journalist whom I cite a lot. He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Fallen State. Mike Cernovich, he's a liberal guy, but he supports Trump a little bit. He said that the government is not gonna be the ones to force you to get not the flu shot, this vaccine for this COVID thing, right? It's gonna be the corporations. You wanna fly, you gotta have a vaccine. You wanna go to a concert, you gotta show record of having had a vaccination. You wanna do this or that, you have to have had a vaccination. And so there's all of these, like you said, crony capitalists, these corrupt people who don't respect your freedom, and they just want to control you, meddling mama types who are going to try to force you to follow what they think that you should do with your life when it has nothing to do with anything. It's kind of like these shutdowns of outdoor dining. So yeah, I agree with you. They're probably going to try to push people to college and all that mess. And where they just go to college to get brainwashed. It's ridiculous.
That's the truth. I mean,
Even in STEM fields, they're getting brainwashed.
Yeah, because, I mean, truly, I mean, we are headed towards, I mean, I do appliance repair, and almost everything, the appliance, they self-diagnose themselves, and then you go and you troubleshoot from that point.
Right.
Everything is just about learning new programming, learning new code, new software. There's no, and pretty much the people that are going to have college degrees are not going to be able to do a job that somebody with 3 months training on that program couldn't do the same exact job.
Yep. It's very true, man. What a racket.
It is.
Self-important so-called experts who don't really bring any value to the world. If anything, they take away from the world. It's such a shame. Like, you think...
but what are you saying?
No, I'm done. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll start ranting, so I'll let you go. So.
Thank you, man. Good points.
Stop on a positive note.
Yeah. Take care, Social Pariah.
All right, you too.
All right. Let me get to T in Alabama. He wants to talk about the election results, which are not in yet. They're not in yet. Or they're being challenged anyways. T, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In regards to the election results, man.
Speak up and stay close to your phone for me.
Okay. In regards to the election results,
yeah.
I mean, it's over with, right? I mean, I've asked you this before, and you guys are in total denial. I mean, seriously, man.
Are you aware? Are you aware that Trump is challenging the election results?
Okay, that's fine. I mean,
then it's not over.
His legal right. That's his legal right.
And so it's not over.
But
there's a chance that it.
Okay, let me just ask you personally. Do you personally believe he's going to be president of the United States?
No, I don't have any belief either way.
Yes, you do, man.
No, I don't.
That's why you're saying it's not over.
You're trying to read my mind. I'm saying it's not over. It's not over.
Don't y'all try to read folks' minds and
results.
Tell folks what they thinking all the time, man?
Huh?
Don't you guys sit on there and tell folks what they thinking all the time? So I'm not trying to read your mind.
Yeah, you are.
But I just want you to be honest, man.
I am honest, man.
I know you got hope. Yeah, I know it's good to have hope.
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You're a Christian, right?
You said that you supported Trump, didn't you?
Yeah, I voted for Trump.
You voted for Trump.
Which y'all don't believe. Y'all don't believe that, though, right?
I mean, I tend not to believe you in general, yeah. But maybe you did. That's mildly interesting.
James, trust me, man. I have no reason to lie to you.
And so, are you concerned about voter fraud?
No.
No, you don't. Do you think there was voter fraud that switched the election?
Well, I mean, it's possible as far as switching the election.
Yeah.
No. I don't think it's enough that's going to make a difference in regards to Trump winning.
Were you
now,
concerned?
Just keep in mind. Suppose that some of the
before you move on to that point about this election and you don't think that there was enough fraud to change the election based on what evidence? I don't know, but how about the massive push for every idiot to vote? Were you concerned about that? Are you concerned about the fact that so many idiots voted?
That's on both sides, right? Democrat and Republican.
Primarily,
right?
Primarily Democrat.
Oh, primarily. Democrat.
Are you concerned that idiots voted for Trump? Do you mind idiots voting for Trump? Making the right choice?
I mean, they made their choice.
But it's the right choice.
If they made that choice, well, I mean, like I said, that's only up to the person to decide.
Well, it's not really relative. There is right and wrong in this country, and it's never been more clear than Trump versus the Democrats.
Well, so Trump
and
is
the
model of perfection as a human being, right?
Compared to these people, heck yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're not concerned about idiots voting?
No, I'm not. No.
Wow.
I mean, do they have a right to vote?
I don't think they should.
I mean, didn't Trump say he loves the uneducated voter?
Those are not. 'Those are not idiots. The uneducated people have common sense.
Well, I mean, if they made that choice for them, I can only.
But it's the right choice. 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 But it's the right choice.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. The ones who voted for Trump, of course. Why did you vote for Trump?
Why did I vote for him?
Yeah.
I vote for him because, I choose to vote for him. Yeah?
That's circular.
That's
Do you mind?
Huh?
Why did you vote for him?
Because I voted for him. Because I wanted to. It was my American right to do that. That's cool.
Okay, Maze.
But I like some of Trump's policies.
Can
you know what I'm saying?
Name a few that you liked? Name
a
few that you liked, if you don't mind, please.
Well, I like the fact that he, tries to bring jobs back to the United States.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he wants to put, America interests, ahead of others. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
We need to take care of our own. Now, again, I don't agree with everything that Trump says. I think some of the stuff he says and does is stupidity. Okay?
You believe in America first?
I believe in God first. Man.
I know, but in terms of the countries, you believe in...
country, yeah. We need to put our interests, above. But, we also need to be mindful that, who we are and the effect we have on the world.
Based?
That, we can't, be that arrogant and that we are simply above everybody.
Are you trying to pad your answer so you don't sound like a Nazi?
Said what?
I said, are you trying to pad your answer by talking about, we need to be aware of our place in the world and don't be arrogant? Are you trying not to sound like a Nazi?
I said, no, I'm just, in regards to the Bible, there's I know you guys don't believe in the Bible and so forth, but, there's, the Bible speaks of, if you only did, and I'm paraphrasing here, but if you only did for your kind or, people that say love you or
right
and so forth, okay, what good are you doing?
Yeah.
Even sinners or even the devil, does that for his own kind.
That's why I like President Trump, because he loves everybody, even the people who hate him.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to say that. He doesn't. Trump doesn't love everybody.
Yeah, he does.
James, he doesn't, man.
He totally does.
Don't even sit here. Do you know Trump, man? Or you just, because Jesse, kiss his feet and believe everything the man said, you guys just go along with it.
No,
I think that,
I can see Trump loves everybody.
No, you don't see that.
Look at how he treats people. After he beats them in a battle, he has dinner with them. He makes them look stupid.
Call folks, assholes and so forth.
Keep it clean for me because you know why. Keep it clean for me.
Let me ask you this.
He's saying that in love.
Jesse says bitch on his show.
I know, but this is Hake's show. Hake wasn't raised to say that word.
I figured. Okay.
I know you're from Alabama. I know you're old school. You guys don't think of that as a bad word, but I was raised to not say that word. Maybe it's feminism, but whatever.
Yeah. Why don't you correct Jesse when he said it, man?
Because he was raised that way.
Okay.
You
so
imagine
why
me trying now, Jesse, don't say that word.
you trying to tell me not to say it. So
I know, but this is my show. This is my show.
I understand that. So it's about your show. If it's not right, why you can't correct Jesse? Do y'all correct Jesse on anything, man?
Yeah. We try all the time.
Like what? Give me an example if you don't mind.
I don't know. It's ma'am. I don't know. He's being stupid.
Yeah, you don't know, Coach.
I can't think of any. It's dumb. It's a dumb question.
No, it's not a dumb question. It's just a simple question.
What's something stupid about Trump that wasn't enough for you not to vote for him, but you felt it was stupid?
Wasn't enough for me not to vote for him?
Yeah, because you voted for him, even though you said that he's done some stupid things or said some stupid things.
James, there's not one person that's perfect.
Okay.
So, of course, there are going to be things, like I said, that I dislike that he do. And like I said, his rhetoric and how he speaks and so forth to people and calling people names. No, I don't think that's a way that someone in his position should talk. I totally disagree with that. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't.
I get
the feeling
think you guys do too. But y'all don't want to admit that.
No, I I love Trump's personality. I love the fact that he fights back hard against these people.
Yeah.
And calls them what they are.
Yeah, not the fact. It's not the fact of fighting hard back, James, but just the way you fight back. Okay?
No, he fights right.
Like I said, man, you in the position as the so-called most powerful person in the world. Let me ask you this: do you think Jesus will act that way?
Yeah, he did act that way. He called people names too.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, he called them a-holes and bees.
Yeah.
Sons of bees.
I don't know. I don't know Aramaic or Hebrew or whatever he spoke.
Yeah,
but he was hated just as Trump is hated.
Yeah, just like y'all hate the Democratic Party. So what makes that any different?
I mean, who's y'all? Are you trying to say that Jesse hates the Democrat Party? Because that's not true.
Yes, it is, James.
No, it's not.
And you know that.
And it's
and
it's totally different. It's a totally different situation. Okay, the Republicans and conservatives who hate, they're wrong for hating. They're effectively liberals for hating, right? Those of us who hate. But there's a difference in that people hate Trump and Jesus and Jesse for telling the truth. They hate Democrats for lying.
So you comparing Trump and Jesse to Jesus.
Yeah. Aren't they supposed to be Christ-like? They're Christians. That's why they're called Christians. They're called little Christs. Ian means little.
Jesse said Christians.
Yeah.
He said Christians would hate Jesus. He would kill. They would kill Jesus.
That's the majority of Christians. That's the phony ones who hate truth.
And where's the proof on that? So if they hate Jesus,
the proof is in the pudding.
How are they? Seriously.
Yeah, seriously. Look at how people will call in and say you're not supposed to. Oh, you're supposed to continue sinning. It's not biblical. Sinless perfection is not biblical. They come up with this phrase, sinless perfection, as though saying that phrase makes it sound like it's such a horrible thing. They say it's not biblical, even though it is biblical.
What's biblical?
That you're not supposed to sin you cannot sin if you're born again of God. It's in the Bible. It's a fact. But they reject that.
Sin. It also says that, anyone that says he's without sin is a liar, right?
Right.
So, so how do you explain that?
I don't know.
What's the contradiction between that?
Are you trying to bring up, are you trying to say that the Bible isn't true because it contradicts itself?
No. I'm just saying you guys.
Are you trying to say that the Bible is wrong for saying anyone who sins is not born of God? No one who's born of God sins.
Look, James, you point out the fact that it says you cannot sin.
Right.
But I pointed out what the Bible also says. If you say.
That's in the very same book. Did you know that?
Okay.
That's in 1 John.
Right.
Later in 1 John, it says, repeatedly. It says repeatedly.
Which one is true?
Hold on, T.
Which one is true?
The one that I said, because the one that you said is confusing. It's not clear. You're trying to dispute it. You're trying to dispute what it says. 1 John 3.
I'm not trying to.
1 John 3.
Shh.
Hush. 1 John 3. Yeah. Whoever abides in him does not sin. Whoever sins has neither seen him nor known him. He who sins is of the devil. This is verse 8. He who sins is of the devil, for the devil has sinned from the beginning. The Son of God was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil. Whoever has been born of God does not sin, and he cannot sin because he's been born of God. In your face. So,
okay, now go pull up that passage about, he who says he doesn't sin is a liar.
But you're just trying to pretend. You're just trying to pretend Can this get any clearer? Can this get any clearer? No one who is born of God sins.
Okay.
Can that get any clearer? T.
Oh, yeah, T. But can I ask you a question?
It's clear, right? It's clear.
Okay, yeah, what you read was clear.
Thank you.
But so is the other part, is it a lie?
No, it's not a lie, but it doesn't mean what you think it means.
What does it mean, James? Explain it to me. Educate me, man.
It means that you've sinned before.
You're the expert.
I know, but you're just like the people who. This is why I find it a little hard to believe that you voted for Trump, but I could believe it because you're old enough to have like a little bit of tradition inside of you, a little bit of sense. But I guess there's a whole lot of Trump supporters who they may not completely reject Trump, But although you do kind of reject him on his personality, which is awesome, Trump is perfectly appropriate for any given situation. He acts quite appropriately given the situation. When there's a time to cuss, he cusses. When there's a time to be all so-called presidential, he's presidential. He's appropriate. And when there's a time to do the locker room talk behind closed doors, at least in 2005 he did.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, you still did you answer the question?
What question?
Okay, about explain it to me what that meant, Jackson.
If you don't know, you're not going to get it. Thank you, T. I got to run. Take care, man.
Okay. Yeah, do like your boy, Ron.
Yeah, okay. 15 minutes later. Let me get to Earl in Michigan real fast. Earl, how are you doing?
Hola, buenos dias,
Hey.
Sir James Hake. Just listening to your conversation between you and T.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, you couldn't answer the question and you ducked and ran.
No, actually, he was trying to pretend.
You didn't know how to answer it.
Hold on, Earl.
How to answer the contradiction. How to answer the contradiction, boy.
T tried to use a different verse to dispute a verse that was quite clear, and used a different verse that was not clear about, oh, that must mean that you still sin after you're born again, even though it clearly says you don't sin after you're born again. So, Earl, they're saying to ban you, Earl. Earl.
He just quoted something else that's in the Bible.
He quoted something else that's irrelevant. It doesn't. It does not.
Explain it and don't duck.
I don't have. I told him no, I cannot, and I don't care to.
You can't explain it. Just say you can't explain it.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say what you want me to say.
You just lied.
No, you lied.
You just can't
You're
explain
a liar.
it.
Earl.
You just lied, boy.
You're psycho.
And you can't explain it. A lot of contradictions that you point out.
It's not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction, Earl. He tried to use it as a contradiction.
I'm not talking about only that. I'm talking about some things you quote from the Bible that you have no understanding of.
It's rich hearing a Democrat try to quote the Bible or tag me on quoting the Bible as if you know what you're talking about.
You're thou because you're a Republican that you think you're God's gift to whatever, you know.
Republicans are supposed to be for Christians.
No, they're
Democrats are for atheists. Democrats are for
better
atheists.
than anybody else.
No,
just a
I didn't
party.
say I'm better. I said that Republicans are supposed to be for Christians. Democrats are for atheists.
According to who?
According to reality. Democrats are socialists. Socialism is atheist.
That is not based in their reality. That's based in your opinion.
No, it's reality. He called it Republican.
Another thing you said.
Republican. Repugnant.
Repugnant. Repugnant. Repudiated.
That's your opinion.
Repressive Republican.
You know what you're talking about.
But anyway, there's other words and things that you said, you quote the Bible, that you have no idea. You said, you bring up one verse that knowledge, something about knowledge being is puff or something.
Yeah, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Because you guys get your knowledge and think that you can beat everybody over the head with it when you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't love anybody. Phony. Bunch of phony, arrogant people.
Did you also quote that my people suffer from the lack of knowledge?
No, because you lack knowledge. You lack the right knowledge.
Did you quote that?
You lack the right knowledge. That's why you're a Democrat. That's why you're a Democrat, Earl, because you lack the right knowledge. You blacks like to go, my people suffer for lack of knowledge.
That Democratic and Republican thing mean to let you right or wrong. Don't give me that mess.
It is a mess. You're the mess.
Say that from the fools that believe your ideology.
It's so typical to hear you people say, my people suffer for lack of knowledge, and then you're so dumb still.
And you
have the wrong knowledge, Earl.
And he talks
That's
about.
That's why they say knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Because you guys are all puffed up on your blackness.
You know all the 20, 30 other verses that it talks about knowledge is a key?
Yes, but there has to be the right knowledge. You have fake knowledge. That's why you're a Democrat.
No, don't give me that mess.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can fall back on.
It's
that's
a true
cheesy.
fall.
That's
It's a
cheap.
true falling.
That means nothing.
Then stop being a Democrat. Otherwise, I'm not going to stop saying it.
No, let's be a Democrat. I mean, you can get better than that. You can come up with something better than that.
No, you need to get better than that.
But
You're old already, Earl. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Don't give me all this
It's not only embarrassing, as Bible Go-To guy pointed out, it's immoral to be a Democrat. Immoral.
And you believe that?
It's a
Because
fact.
he said something as stupid as that, and you believe it. What validation does he have? What credibility does he have that what he says is gospel?
Because it's true.
No, that's what you think is. And you
Democrats
believe it is
Democrats are for falsely
true.
accusing.
That's what you believe.
Hold
Don't
on.
give me this Democratic
Democrats
crap.
are for falsely accusing
Nobody
whites of
believes
racism.
that crap but a fool.
Democrats are for falsely accusing. I'm going to put you on hold if you don't be quiet, Earl. Democrats are
I
for.
don't care what you put.
All right. I'll put you on hold. Democrats are for falsely accusing white people of being racist. They are for hating the only decent man who's been in office, elected office for my lifetime, President Trump. And they are for abortion, same-sex marriage, 8-year-old transgenders, from the horse's mouth, Mr. Biden himself. And they're for all kinds of degeneracy. So now,
Do you think your president is a Christian?
of course,
You do.
better Christian than you or me.
What makes you think a man that talks about what he does with a lady's private parts, that cheats on his wife when she's pregnant and so forth, and does all kinds of things, and now you say he's in lies all over the place? How you qualify that as Christian?
That was in 2000.
How do you equate that as being Christian?
That was in 2005, Earl.
How do you equate that as being Christian? He gets
I'm
angry
talking about
when
the present.
things don't go his way.
He doesn't
Does
get
Christians
angry.
get angry?
That's a
According
lie.
to Jesse-
You don't know what you're talking about.
As according to Jesse-
You don't know what you're talking about.
As according to
You don't know what
Jesse,
you're
when you
talking
get
about, Earl.
angry,
You don't know what you're talking about.
it doesn't run and
You don't know what
When
you
he-
are talking
he-
about.
He talked about how he's human.
Hey,
because
Satan. Hey,
he-
Satan. Hey, Satan.
That ain't gonna work.
Did you know that Did you know that another word for Satan is the accuser? Isn't Satan the accuser? I think that's the
facts,
accuser.
buddy.
And that's all you're
That's
doing is
facts,
accusing.
And so,
You're trying to accuse and
stop trying
condemn.
to duck and run.
You're trying to accuse and condemn Trump when you don't have any clue what you're
And
talking about.
have you met him? Do you know him?
Yeah,
Have you met him for 1 second of your life?
of course. I saw him
You're a
on.
lie.
I saw him on TV.
Liar. And by the way, do your God sanction lying?
Yes.
He does. Then your God is the devil.
Whoa, you're the one lying. I gotta go,
And
Earl. Nice
remember,
talking with
Jesus
you.
said that's in the Bible. Did you know that? He said, because you like your father the devil, because he lied from the beginning. God has never sanctioned lying for any reason.
You don't know what you're talking about, Earl. You're the one lying. All you did is lie. You said that Trump gets mad when
you
things
own
don't
that,
go his
buddy.
way, but you don't know him.
You own that.
And then you said that Jesse
When
Lee
you can't-
Peterson
when you can't
gets mad
refute
when
the
things don't
facts,
go his way. You
you
don't know what
own
you're
that.
talking about.
As you use your little hollow
All
arguments
you
to duck and
Democrats
run.
do is lie, Earl. All you Democrats do
No.
is lie.
I'm just pointing out facts that you can't refute.
I was joking around about lying, and you don't know what you're talking about. You're a Democrat. You're not a Christian.
So you don't believe. Lying is sanctioned by God. do you?
Yeah, I think that it might be a time to lie.
No, he doesn't.
Well, then
nowhere
why are
has he ever
you a
sanctioned
Democrat, Earl? Chew on
Can
that.
you find anywhere that he sanctioned lying?
Chew on that,
Can-
Earl. Stop
Can
lying.
you find it?
Chew on
Can you
it. Chew on it,
find
Earl.
any reason, any place where he justifies lying?
No, I don't know.
Well, that's the best you can answer because he doesn't.
Why are you so hard on
And
that
when
thing when you support liars and you are lie yourself?
And when you
lie and
inject it-
accuse yourself.
And when you inject
You
it,
lie and accuse yourself, Earl.
says it's all right to lie.
Earl!
When you serving your God the devil.
Earl!
Screaming ain't gonna help you, little woman.
You're the one woman. You support Democrats.
You're hollering like a little woman.
No. All you do is lie.
Calm down. Stop having a hissy fit, you little sissy.
Whoa. You're the sissy.
You're the chitty. No, Nenny. Boy, just face facts.
No. I
By
gotta
the way,
go.
I'll talk to
We'll talk again another time,
just
Earl.
a minute, just before I go.
No minutes. No minutes.
I
You can
like,
talk. You can
tell
talk about
Art
art tomorrow.
that,
No, you can talk about art tomorrow, Earl. I gotta go.
That when the
No,
when
I
the
gotta go,
president
Earl.
leaves-
I gotta go, Earl.
leaves
I gotta go,
office-
Earl. Bye. What a mess. Anyway, before I get back to calls, I got Killian next, and then Art in Ohio. Speaking of art. But I got to read some stuff. Interesting facts. Speaking of the Indians. Illegal money for votes. Raffles conducted in several states in the 2020 election. This is from the Epoch Times. And I mentioned this before, including Arizona, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. And in Nevada, the Nevada Native Vote Project posted photos on Facebook on Election Day of smiling voters holding $25 gift cards after handing over their ballots. Votes for money. Bribery. Typical, huh? And a little bit about SharpieGate. You guys heard about SharpieGate? I sort of ignored it because the mainstream media was trying to say, this is not real, it's not real. But it is, in fact, confirmed. SharpieGate. This is in Arizona, Maricopa County. Confirmed by an expert witness in the Trump campaign. From Revolver News and National File, Republican voters Election Day in Maricopa County, Arizona, reported they were forced to use Sharpies. And there are concerns with Sharpies as opposed to ballpoint pens. They always tell you to use ballpoint pens. Do not use a marker. Do not use pencil. Pencils are reflective. The graphite's reflective, or whatever it is. And the markers bleed through. They were once concerned that there would be bleed-throughs, therefore invalidate the ballots. The hashtag SharpieGate went viral with Arizona voters posting their concerns all over social media. And this is a tweet from a reporter. Here's one woman who said at the time, there were two people in front of me that used the Sharpie that was given to them by the poll workers. It did not read their ballot, and they slid it in there twice. I used a pen. I took their Sharpie, and I threw it away, and it read my ballot, she said. Interesting, huh? That's according to her. I don't take her for a liar necessarily. During Monday's hearing, just yesterday, in Arizona on election integrity, Colonel Phil Waldron, an expert witness, you may have seen him speak over in, what was that, PA? I think it was Pennsylvania, the last hearing last week, which presented a ton of evidence. Mainstream media is trying to go blackout on them. Confirmed the scandal's existence. Indeed, it was not debunked. When discussing the topic with former New York mayor and head to the Trump legal team, Rudy Giuliani. He said, tell us about the green button in Maricopa County and the machine, Giuliani asked Waldron. There's one witness that is going to testify that all day she saw election officials constantly pressing the green button when somebody was voting. I guess to just force it through anyway. I believe this was also linked to another witness that's going to talk about the differences between the pens and the Sharpies, that Colonel Waldron replied. He has like 30 years of experience in fraud and stuff like that, and in the intelligence part of the world, right? Military. I think he's an Army colonel, retired. The Maricopa Elections Division in early voting, they specified to only use ballpoint pens for voting. Then on Election Day, they specified only to use Sharpies. Interesting, huh? National File confirmed this story earlier this month with Maricopa County Elections Assistant Director Kelly Dixon identifying issues with ballots being cast using that's what was in that tweet, was a photograph of or a screenshot or a photograph of this email. Identifying issues with ballots being cast using Sharpie markers. Those are the markers. But still insisting that voters who cast their ballot on November 3rd must do so using Sharpies. So all the early voters, which tends to be Democrats, get the ballpoint pens, but the election day voters, which tends to be more Republicans, they like to follow the rules and stick to what they've always done. They get the Sharpies. Interesting, huh? Reporter Patrick Howley tweeted out this screenshot. I think he's with National File. Interesting, huh? Yes. So I'm not going to go along with the mainstream media pretending that this SharpieGate thing was debunked. Don't believe them. Say, I don't know if it's debunked or not. These people are raising a valid concern. They were having to press the green button all day. I guess that means to force them through. And they had problems reading them sometimes. It bleed-throughs and all that stuff. Shameful. Lin Yen Chin says, hit like or mama gonna beat you with that slow stick. Oh, yeah, I read that one already. Arizona Lineman says, King T is the king beta male, puts the T in beta. Appreciate that, Arizona Lineman. Cactus Eater Bear gave a diamond, said, Jesus called a Samaritan woman a dog. Yeah, you compared them to the dogs. Compared to the Jews, I guess, he was primarily helping out, right? Malkuth X with a diamond. Only Jesus was born of God, so only he is sinless. No, but you're supposed to be born again of God. So, Malkuth, they weren't only talking about Jesus in that thing. What would be the point? It says, no one who is born of God sins. If he's anyone who sins has neither seen him nor known him. So it's talking about more than just Jesus, Malkuth. But appreciate it. Lin Yen Chin says, we suffer from lack of wisdom, union with God. And he says, in stillness, wisdom has us process knowledge. Interesting. Lin Yen Chin says, Earl suffers a lack of wisdom for processing info. Yeah, Earl falls for that, 87% of whites commit murder against other whites. Can't even cite the stuff properly. Shameful. Lack of wisdom. Lin Yen Chin gave a diamond and said, being led by impulses, outrage is anti-wisdom. Earl? Easily distracted 06 with the diamond. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hot Computer Smell gave a super chat and said that LA Board of Directors lady, or whatever, referring to Sheila Cool, I think. Cool? Needs to emigrate to France or England if she likes being told what to do. Stop trying to turn this country into what we escaped from. Yes. King Alpha Nerd says, is it me or anybody else notice all the crazy blacks are calling in on the first of the month? Did their checks clear or something? Interesting. Thank you guys for the super chats on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. What a mess. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. We're coming up on the top of the second hour, right? I will be touching on the POC and female so-called freedom force. By the way, Mark Zuckerberg donated like $400 million to like pay election workers and bring in like ballot drop boxes in the Democrat areas, influencing the election. I almost called it the wrong word. Crazy, huh? And I will get to your calls. I got to get to Killian, Art, Carl, Ramon. More of you call. Lines are actually full. And the anti-Semitism criers and sleazy America haters. The people crying anti-Semitism tend to be the people who hate America, but the people that they're crying anti-Semitism against, such as Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, those are America haters as well. Anyway, guys, I'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for hour 2.
You don't need to think, let go and drift away. Turn it down, turn it up. What you want to say. My mind trying to forget who I was. And whenever you feel more like time, have to make it where I can be
All right, we're back, guys. Real quick, let me talk. Oh. Well, you guys know about that woman whom Hot Computer Smell pointed out. She is a female of many females and one black male. LA County Board of Supervisors supervisor. Sheila Cool. Not cool. It doesn't look like she needs to be eating at any Italian restaurant anyways. Kuehl. Oh yeah, Kuehl. Kuel. Kuehl. Doesn't look like she needs to be eating at that trattoria. But she did. Ridiculous woman. I think I have a picture of her. LA County Supervisor dines out hours after voting to ban outdoor dining. There she is. Looks like a monster woman. Nice hair, though, but I don't think it's natural. Yikes. So she said, oh, it's my favorite restaurant. It's the last day before the ban took effect. But if it's so dangerous, why not set a positive example? They know that it's not dangerous. They know it's a joke. They're just following the blind footsteps of being control freaks. Typical women and black male feminist Mark Ridley-Thomas, Ridley being his wife's name. And he took it. What a ridiculous thing. Although it does make his name more distinctive. Mark Thomas, I've heard of Mark Thomas, right? There's 1,000 Mark Thomases, but there's only one Mark Ridley-Thomas. He's a unique, special snowflake. All snowflakes are unique. Is that why they're called snowflakes? Let me tell you about this Freedom Force thing. It's ridiculous. And I think New York Post, which tends to be liberal, they have some conservatives on there who write decent articles. For example, one guy, Dr. John R. Lott Jr., has written for the New York Post. He talked about the Ferguson lies, the Ferguson report. But these people, according to, you heard Burgess Owens being silly. I don't want to be harsh on Burgess Owens. I like that guy, kind of. But it's POC and female leading this Freedom Force. Vows to be the GOP answer to AOC's squad. And you heard the experts on the Jesse Lee Peterson show talking about how silly it is. Ridiculous. And look at the person who they put at the front. Like, this doesn't... They got a bad picture of a lady who is acting like she's all tough and playing man. She's probably nice. I guess that's Nicole Maliotakis. What is that? What type of name is that? Greek? I was going to guess Greek, but I didn't want to be wrong. Because usually it's Maliotakopoulos. George Stephanopoulos, George Papadopoulos. I'm surprised her name isn't Georgina Maliotakopoulos. No offense. Actually, I hear from a guy named George, I think, 17-year-old Greek man from Greece. Right on to you, based. But these people are weak. And who else is in it? Burgess Owens, who's like a former NFL player. He looks like he has some dignity, but then he's calling himself Freedom Force with this stuff. Gen X. Is he Gen X or is he Boomer? I like him, though, but I don't like these women. And they don't talk about anything about the attack on whites, the false attack on men. Let's be shameless group of white men to bash the so-called squad, right? Right? So Utah Representative-elect, former NFL player Burgess Owens talked on the Ingram angle. Laura Ingram on Fox News. I don't want to mock her. I kind of like her a little bit too. Whatever. But the squad is the nickname of the female Democrat, progressive female congressman of color, Alexandria Cortez of New York, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, actually of Somalia, Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, and Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, Palestine. Israel hater. She said, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Which I think validates what Jesse Lee Peterson says about those people, the Palestinians or whoever else. They want to push Israel into the ocean. And that is considered anti-Semitic. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. All four were reelected in November, right? Cortez was not toppled by that female black woman Republican who wanted to run against her. Remember that? People were all excited. Ooh, a black woman is going to run against her. And she's kind of pretty. Nope. What a shame. It takes a man. Stop running away from being a man or being white. So-called Republicans. Owens pledged the new GOP band made up of women and so-called people of color will work to protect small business owners. That's nice. Small business owners, yes. How about whites and men? How about answer the attack on whites and men, the false smear? Don't pretend like they have a valid complaint. We're saying, oh, this is majority white, must be racist. That's what they did to the Tea Party. It's ridiculous. At least 8 incoming, and they did that to Proud Boys too. At least 8 incoming Republican lawmakers in the group, including Maliotakis, that's that woman with the face that you may have seen on the screen, Michelle Steele of California, Stephanie Bice, B-I-C-E, of Oklahoma, Victoria Spartz, with a Z, Spartz, of Indiana, and then 3 people in Florida, Carlos Jimenez, with a G, Maria Elvira Salazar, and Byron Donalds of Florida. Byron is probably black, I'm guessing. Don't know. We have different cultures, backgrounds, colors, but what we have in common is we have a love for our country. That's nice. Gotta love the white people too. We're gonna make sure we stay free. Because you have to answer, it's never been more obvious than today that Democrats are anti-white, anti-men, anti-Christian. Answer those concerns. Be shamelessly pro-white and pro-America and pro-male, and not rather than anti those things. Pro everybody, right? But along with it, love white people, because there is a blatant hatred upon the white people, and they don't even mention it. What the heck? Speaking on CNN's State of the Union Sunday, Maliotakis mentioned a natural alliance was occurring between members of the Senate freshman class. I think what you're going to see is a group of individuals who are going to serve as a counterbalance to the values of the socialist squad. How about just the outright anti-American squad? We don't believe we should be dismantling the economy. We don't believe we should be destroying the free market principles. We don't believe in Green New Deal. We don't believe in packing the courts. How about we don't believe in smearing and replacing whites and men and killing children? Those are some obvious things that you can jump on and get I don't know. But anyway. Yes, Fire It Up 2020. I said it wrong. Oh, I think I need to refresh my thing. Anyway, I had to share that with you. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm back on the live chat. Let me get to Art in Ohio. Oh, hang on, Art. I'm sorry. I meant to get to Killian first. Let me get to Killian. Out of Boston, Mass. Boston, Massachusetts. Killian, it's good to hear from you. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Going well.
I just want to let you. I'm the last person that's going to run away from being white and male.
I know that.
But I got some big news for you. A couple.
You think
stories.
you might run for office?
Eventually, one day, yes.
How old are you?
34.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually the state constitutional debate champion when I was in my senior year of high school.
Nice.
So, plus, I served in the military, so I think I have good credentials.
Yeah.
But first, I wanted to just share with Earl my favorite passage in the Bible. I think he really needs to hear it. It's Romans 14:2. One person's faith allows them to eat anything, but another, whose faith is weak, eats only vegetables. But
is that your answer to his thing about lying for any reason?
Yeah, he needs to eat some meat. He's been eating too many vegetables.
You saying that he's girly?
It sounds like it. He's got the soul of a female, from what I hear.
It's so ridiculous for him to pick lying of all things, because all he does is support liars and lie himself.
Well, I have a good story for you about liars.
And you know what? It's worse than just lying. It's actually like, as they say, bearing false witness against your neighbor. That's what all they do to the whites. Call us white wing racist. He calls me white wing racist.
Now they have all these buzzwords. They think it's gonna,
but that's a lie.
It's gonna scare away a lot of the weak men who only eat vegetables, but it doesn't scare away the strong men.
Okay.
But I wanted to share with you some really hilarious news. I mean, it always seems like you're a day or two behind the news, so I wanted to give you the real deal. I'm from 4chan. I'm here to help you out.
Okay.
But anyway, James O'Keefe and Project Veritas?
Yes.
All right, so he put a tweet out this morning on his Twitter. Apparently, he's been listening into and recording the 9 a.m. editorial phone calls for CNN for the past couple weeks.
Wow.
And he basically caught them all talking honestly about how they want to deceive everyone and what stories to talk about and what the Democrats want them to talk about. And he actually posted a 5-minute video where he finally unmuted himself and he said, "Hey, what's the CNN owner's name? Jack Zucker or something like that?"
I think it's Jeff Zucker, right? Yeah.
Jeff Zucker. Yeah. He basically come in the call. He said, "Hey, this is James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. We've been recording this call for the past couple weeks, and we're going to release it all tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern."
That's tonight, huh?
Yeah. So I guess 4 p.m. your time.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. If you go to James O'Keefe's Twitter,
yeah,
I'm sure if you played that for all your listeners, they'd probably get a real big kick out of it. It's only about 5 minutes long.
Okay. Appreciate the tip, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's quite obvious that they're all like, I don't know if they're colluding, but their whole culture is to lie and deceive people and pretend that Joe Biden won.
They're the children of the lie.
Yep. Shameful.
But the other big piece of news that I saw this morning was Lynn Wood tweeted out that the Dominion voting machines, that company?
Yep.
Yeah, apparently they got $400 million from a Chinese bank on October 8th.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's what Lynn Wood
Yeah.
said, huh? That's one of the attorneys for, I don't know if he's with the Trump team or if he's on his own, kind of like Sidney Powell is now on her own. But he seems like a decent guy.
No, it's actually a woman. She was the lawyer for Kyle Rittenhouse and the Covington kid that got doxxed for smiling in the Indian guy's face.
Right. But
she
Lynn
won both those cases.
But Lynn Wood is not a woman.
Lynn Wood. I thought it was the woman.
L-I-N Wood. No, Lynn Wood is a man.
Oh, my mistake then.
That's all right. But yeah, that's cool. It would take a man to win those cases.
There was a bank. There was a bank in Switzerland that was 75% owned by the Chinese Communist Party, and they sent $400 million to the Dominion voting systems on October 8th.
Interesting.
I
wonder.
the
Because Trump is kind of tough on China. He's always talked about China ever since I was a kid.
Why do you think they want Beijing Joe in the office?
Interesting question. Yeah,
But,
I think that they might.
A quick follow-up from my call last Friday after my call ended. One of your super chatters had a very, very interesting question, and I couldn't have phrased it better. They basically said, why are you and Jesse so comfortable criticizing black people, but you are very, very uncomfortable criticizing the Jews?
Well, first of all, it's not true. And second of all, blacks that were very, very uncomfortable criticizing the Jews. That wasn't a super chat. I just read it because I saw Malkuth say it. It caught my eye. And I said, because one, I don't really know about him. I don't really know the
Well,
thing.
I mean, it's not just
And then
you,
the other thing is that blacks are more my audience, and then whites. Blacks and whites are my audience. If I had a Jewish audience, then I could talk to them. But I have more you guys and blacks. And so I deal with the issues I'm dealing with and with the issues that I know. Like I grew up seeing blacks out of control. I didn't grow up understanding all this Jew stuff. And I'm not saying you guys are wrong about it, but you guys also have to check yourselves. And you guys have
you
this
guys
thing
are always
where
bringing up the fake media.
Right, those are Jews, right?
What percentage?
A lot of them are Jews, right? So I am talking about Jews.
Jeff Zucker. Jeff Zucker.
Right. But the funny thing is, like, you guys don't want to really look at yourselves.
Why do you think that?
Because you don't end up, like, being effective or looking at yourselves. Like, you want me to tickle your ear with stuff that you already know. You want me to tickle your ear with stuff about the Jews that you already know. What's the point of that?
Yeah, but I mean, what's the point of talking about black people? It's old hat. Everyone knows.
But the blacks apparently don't know. You hear them every day on my show calling and arguing with me. I say stuff about...
Well, maybe you should educate the blacks on who actually owned all the slave ships.
I don't really know that stuff. It's not really my concern. I don't think slavery was such a bad thing.
Well, I'm sure a lot of your audience would be very interested to hear it.
No, I think those of you who are interested already know about it.
True. Yeah, but we're trying to spread the message. I'm not calling in.
Exactly. You guys are trying to spread
into you today to learn anything new. I'm trying to share it with you.
Killian. Exactly. You're trying to spread a message on my platform when you should do your own thing on your platform if you have such a thing. Because you're just trying to use me and use my platform to spread your message when it's not something that I'm not interested in.
Wake up everyone I can. I mean,
but you're not. That's not waking people up. That's not waking people up.
I have my own platform.
It's not waking.
I'll give a shout out to all my buddies on.
He was about to shout out something. Hey, Killian.
Yep.
It's not waking people up to tell them that stuff. People think that people learn stuff about the Jews and they think they're awake and they get beside themselves. Have you seen that?
In some instances.
Not in some instances, in most. Maybe not most, but in every instance where they've been like the most vocal about it. Those people, did you see how savage Travis used to be? And Robert from Kansas used to be. He's getting a little better now, maybe.
Well, I know you guys have to tiptoe around the subject.
No, it's not about tiptoeing. You're just making accusations because you have this assumption about Jesse and about me and about other people when you're not checking yourself.
Well, I mean, I understand you guys are worried about getting banned.
No, but you're saying stuff that you don't know to be true. You're acting just like Earl and T.
I strongly disagree with you on that one.
You are, because you're making an assumption that you don't know is to be true.
I know that it's true.
No, you don't know that it's true. You're saying,
Yes,
Jesse and James are tiptoeing because they don't want to be banned.
Well, you don't tiptoe around the black question.
Because that's one thing that I know. And just because I'm not into something like you're into it, you're going to make assumptions about it when you don't know it to be true. And if you knew, then why did you ask?
I've seen a preponderance of evidence.
No, you have not. You don't see anything. You're just assuming.
Well, my buddies at Telemarketers Anonymous would disagree with you.
At Telemarketers Anonymous would agree with me because they're blind too. They're not us. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I mean,
there's a whole lot of people that are. There's a guy who was on the Church with Jesse Lee Peterson this weekend, who said, because Jesse said that we're a Judeo-Christian nation, and then the whites who hate Jews don't even want to be called a Judeo-Christian nation because he says Christianity
America's
came
not a Judeo-Christian nation. America is a Christian nation.
Hold on, Killian. Let me finish. Because Christianity came from Judaism, and if there was no Judaism, there would be no Christianity. And they hate Jews, so they don't even want to have that connection ever. And some guy said, hold on, Killian, as you're missing the point. He jumped from he said, Jesse only started saying that after he got banned from YouTube. But that's completely false. Jesse has been saying this for 30 years. Every Christian who's not a boomer or who's not a Zoomer or a millennial, who's not white and into this thing about criticizing the Jews, grew up with this, we love Israel, we came from Judaism, Christianity is the true continuance of what the Jews were. Christ came and made the Jews into Christians and the Gentiles into Christians. But
no, not the Jews, the Israelites. Israelites are different from the ancient Israelites.
Jesus was the king of the Jews.
The modern day Jews.
The point is, you guys made false assumptions. That guy made a false assumption that Jesse just talked about it only since being banned on YouTube, when that wasn't true. It's a complete lie. So you guys are following your imagination.
I mean, when you look at the people that have been kicked out of 109 countries.
There's like people saying, Jesse has a Jewish Bible. He's paid by Dennis Prager, and none of it's true.
The Talmud?
Exactly. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, look, if I get drunk and I go to 109 different bars and I get kicked out of 109 different bars, is it the bar's fault or is it my fault?
I don't know. I'm not saying that the Jews are blameless. I've criticized them, but I also criticize you guys for jumping to conclusions about people who aren't on the same kick as you. Because you think you're awake. You think you're awake, but you're not.
Well, let me ask you one quick question. If there was a law to be passed in America that would totally benefit every American in the country in a great way, but it was at the detriment of Israel, would you be for it or against it?
I don't know, man. I got to go. Nice talking with you, man.
I bet. Have a good one.
All right. Let me get to Art in Ohio. Art, how you doing?
Hey, what's up with you, Hake? How you doing, man?
I'm doing
fine.
fine.
Caller, man, if you know where the slaves came from or whatnot, who owned the shit, why didn't you tell us? What's up with all the liberal mind games? Because I dang sure want to know, and this ain't no dang on move. You keep me in suspense, but then for the first,
you're not gonna get Art. You're not gonna get enlightened from people like that.
Man, ain't nobody trying.
You don't need
we already know.
Art, what good is it gonna do you to know if it was the Jews or the whites or the Muslims or whoever who owned the slave ships? What good is that going to do you?
Man, I want my shot of Hennessy with no ice, man. I need a straight shot. Don't give me nothing watered down, man. So I don't.
But the Hennessy doesn't even apply to you. The slave ships don't even have anything to do with it.
Well, no, I'm just saying dealing with a caller like that. Dealing with a caller like that, he always gonna give you the watered down liquor. So you like, man, I gotta go to a different bar because I'm not getting drunk at that bar. They must be putting water in out. You see what I'm saying? So I don't expect nothing out of him. Okay, for the first caller, man, bro, get out of here with that fake stuff, man. We smell you, man. We know you.
Which
the one
caller?
talking about he talking about he voted for Trump, man. You ain't voting for no dang on Trump. Yeah, it sounded like how you sounded, man. You sound crazy. I voted for Trump, man. Yeah, right. And if you did talking about you don't believe that he got cheated, when we sit here, we clearly can look at Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, what is that, South Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, California. You just think I'm making up all these states out of my rear end?
Yeah.
You think that the Democrats did all this for 4 or 5 years since Trump was in?
Hey, he might have voted for Trump, but he's weak. He doesn't even like Trump's personality and the way he talks.
Listen, I get what you're saying. He might, I don't think he might have, because I'm just being logical. Don't nobody that voted for Trump think like how he talk, how he talk. He is one of them liberal trolls that acts like he's for Trump, so he can be like, yeah, man, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Just go ahead and concede. It wasn't no cheat. That's what he's doing, knowing he voted for Biden. I smell you. You fake. Why you got to come over here on the Hake Show and be fake, man? Right. You don't see me and Hake. You don't see me and Art and Hake trying to go over to y'all's liberal shows trying to get y'all to think like us, because we don't have to, because we already know we got the truth and the facts already. We don't got to make you and force you to believe what we believe, because you're going to end up seeing it regardless. So we ain't got to make you drink the water. You're going to end up having to drink it anyways.
Right.
So, and then with Earl, man, I'm going to break it down like this, and this for any of these other liberal loony lanes. Old dirtballs is like 72 years old and don't know that they selling out America. Their kids won't even have no American dream. They're not, the 70-year-olds don't even plan on leaving the American dream for their own bloodline, their next generation. Long story short, when I was locked up in Harris County, Houston, Texas, 3200, back when I was about 1920, I was around this guard named Mr. Wadsworth. He was like 72, 74 years old, and he was still a prison guard. And I was young. I'm like, why they got this old dude in here working the prison, working the county jail or whatnot? Then I was there for about 3 or 4 months. Then I started realizing God put me around him for a reason. Long story short, Mr. Wadsworth used to line us up at lunch every time, and he used to always say that, if you ain't got nothing smart to say, just be quiet. Ain't nobody gonna know you dumb if you don't say nothing. So that goes to the first caller, the second caller, and this last caller, man. Just be quiet, man. If you're gonna be stupid, be quiet and don't say nothing. Then everybody don't know you stupid. We just think you just quiet.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then one more thing, and I'm gonna get up off here because I got a few things to do.
Yeah.
Then another thing is, with all this equal rights stuff, I just been watching YouTube, and a lot of these females and the liberal betas, like the 3 other callers, I've been seeing a lot of survivalist stuff coming up on my feed. A lot of people don't see what's going on in front of them, and I ain't about to get on here and try to scare nobody, because it's already written on the wall or whatnot. Only thing I'm going to say, let's keep this old equal rights energy, man. When this stuff jumps off over here and overseas, I'm going to need all these females, all this tough talk, just like y'all talking on Jesse Lee. They talk down to the men. They act like they can beat the men up, and they want to run everything or whatnot. Just make sure when this last little war jump off, just make sure you had your little pretty nails popped off and you ready to go to war. Because ain't none of that, we a female, we ain't fighting and we ain't doing nothing. No, because that ain't how it works in the military. If you don't come out there fight, it's called, I forgot what it's called when you turn on your own team and they have to kill you for trying to turn on them when you in a war. Yeah,
I know what that is.
So don't try to do that. That's all I'm saying, because the writing's on the wall, man, and a lot of them don't smell the poo until it's rubbed in their face, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I appreciate it, Art.
Yes, sir. God bless you. Have a good one.
You too. So he doesn't believe you, T, that you voted for Trump. Because you're phony. Shameful. Before I get back to calls, hang tight, guys. Let me tell you about this StopAntisemitism.org. at Stop Anti-Semites tweeted Rashida Tlaib's retweets. She retweeted out the same message that got Mark Lamont Hill fired from CNN. Mark Lamont Hill has been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. He's been on Sean Hannity versus Jesse Lee Peterson. He's this black, dumb, young intellectual who used to giggle with Don Lemon, the homosexual black guy on CNN. And she retweeted from the river. I think I just put this retweet in the folder. It's called EOCMQPLXUAAFIAX on there. I think it's put it in the folder. I hope I put it in there. Yes. Rashida Tlaib retweeted, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And it's International Day of Solidarity between, I guess, blacks and Palestinians or something like that. And you know what? Black Lives Matter attracted those people from Hamas. I remember a guy from Hamas at the Ferguson riots, taunting the police, this Muslim guy. And that's code from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Code for eradicating the state of Israel and its millions of Jews. Reminder, this is a sitting U.S. congressman, female congressman. They said congresswoman. And I hadn't ever heard about these people, StopAntisemitism.org. But she's like tweeted a bunch of stuff like that. Ilhan Omar, same thing. Israel haters, but worse than that, America haters. And I noticed that I'm not familiar again with this Stop Anti-Semitism org, exposing anti-Semitism wherever we see it. But I know that the ADL, enemies of humanity, honestly, enemies of humanity. Jonathan Greenblatt, scum of the earth. He says using the word globalism is anti-Semitic. And he also says, referencing George Soros funding, billionaire George Soros, who's Jewish, right? From, I don't know, didn't he help the Nazis as a kid? Or as a teen? Helping Black Lives Matter and funding all of these, as Tucker Carlson exposed, all these DAs get into office and selectively non-enforce against Black Lives Matter rioters and Antifa rioters. And that's Jonathan Greenblatt. He's the head of the ADL. That's the so-called Anti-Defamation League, to protect Jewish people from being defamed and scapegoated, because that's what brought about the Holocaust. Greenblatt. So, interesting. Phony people. Enemies of the people that they're pretending to help. Enemies of the people they're pretending to help. Increasing hatred and suspicion towards the Jews by saying, oh, this is anti-Semitism, this is anti-Semitism, that's anti-Semitism. So phony. I noticed that Killian didn't want to acknowledge that he jumped to conclusions. Acted like he's a mind reader. Just like that, just like what Earl and T do. Same thing. Definitely not SPLC donated a dime and said, Hake, you and your hair both know about the juice. Yeah, but I'm just not as into it as you guys are. Are you SPLC though? SPLC is another one that smears people, calls them anti-gay, just anti-Christian, commies. Cactus Eater Bear with a diamond says, racism and Judeo-Christian aren't in my 1940 dictionary. Interesting. Yeah, I think they started using it 120 years ago, supposedly, right? Racism. I think it was popularized by that Trotsky guy to push suspicion and exploit the natural fissures of society. Fissures being between men and women, between blacks and whites, between the gays and the normal people. All that stuff. Let me get to Carl in Tennessee. He wants to talk about election fraud. Carl, it's good to hear from you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Hank. How about you?
Doing fine, too. Thank you.
Yeah, before I talk about the treason that's going on in this nation, I couldn't help but, listening to your show this afternoon, the first, I think, half hour of it, you guys were talking about sinless perfection, and that was me that had called into JLP
Right.
this morning. Yeah. All right, so look, just let me, if you would just indulge me here for a moment. Look, James 3:8, okay, he that committed sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. Verse 9, whosoever is born of God doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of God. The subject here, the context, is the new creature in Christ Jesus, where all things have become new. This is talking about the inward man that does not sin in the sight of God, because they have been made the righteousness of Christ himself. For you or I to believe that we continue in this world and don't sin at times is absolutely foolish, man.
But how is it foolish? It's right there in the Bible. It says, 1 John 3:6, whoever abides in him does not sin. Whoever sins has neither seen him, meaning God, nor known him.
Again, this is talking about the new creature in Christ Jesus.
Jesus repeatedly said, go and sin no more. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you.
Right,
So
he called that woman out of adultery.
You're lying saying, hold on, you're lying and saying that nowhere in the Bible does it say you no longer sin. Where it's all over the Bible that says you no longer sin.
No,
nowhere
in the
Bible.
that you...
Hold on. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that you continue to sin after being born again. All you did was say Peter sinned. So?
You're going to let me talk at all?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. In the context that you guys teach that an individual, once they're saved, does not ever do anything wrong again, the Bible in nowhere, shape, or form teaches that anywhere.
Yes, it does.
This verse that we're talking about is talking about the new creature. It's the inward man that does not sin because he has been made the righteousness of God in Christ. If we go to the beginning of this epistle, we see very clearly that it's being written to believers.
Right.
And what is John saying to the believer? He says, if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness.
Right. That's why they have to repent.
You and I.
That's why they have to repent.
This is talking about.
Are you aware?
Not
Carl?
here. These people are already believers.
Carl, are you aware that there's a whole lot of...
I'm tearing up your false doctrine, man. You can't stand it, man.
Hold on,
Carl. You can't stand it.
You're the one who can't stand the truth because you can't shut up. The people who he was writing to were people who were going to church seeking God. There's a whole lot of people who go to church who are not born again. So now.
He says brother in here. He calls them
You're
brethren.
just rationalizing.
He's talking to...
You're just
no.
rationalizing.
You have to handle things in context, James.
No,
you can't take things out of context.
You're contexting...
Which is what you're doing.
You're contexting the Bible out of what it says. You're just saying this... Don't believe your lying eyes. This doesn't mean what it plainly says. That's what you're saying. You're a blind intellectual, Carl.
No, I'm not. This is what the Holy Word of God teaches.
Yes, you are.
It says, if we say, meaning the believer, that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. But if we walk in the light and he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin.
Exactly.
And what does the next verse say? If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. So this is talking about individuals that are believers.
Thank you for proving us right.
That still sin because we all fall short of the glory of God daily in our lives.
Carl, you just proved us right. You just proved us right.
Was Peter a believer, James?
You just proved us right.
Will you answer my question? Was Peter a believer?
Eventually he was. He was not born
Peter
again. He was not born again,
whenever he cursed and denied Christ?
No.
Was Peter a believer? Really? We'll go to Matthew 16. What does Matthew 16 teach us?
Carl, you don't know what you're talking about.
He confessed Christ as Savior, Hake.
You just proved us all right.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes.
And what you people are doing, you're turning people from Christ and causing them
That's
to
not
look to
what
the
you're
works
doing.
of their
You're the
own
one-
hands.
you're the
and
one
you are
denying-
leading people
Carl.
astray because
Hey,
you are
Carl.
a false teacher.
Hey, Carl.
You people are
Hey, Carl.
heretics, and you need to repent and
You're going
believe
psycho.
the gospel of Jesus
You're going
Christ.
psycho, Carl.
You people think that you're sinless and
I didn't
perfect.
say
There's
that.
only
I never said
one
that.
is perfect.
I never
and
said
that's
anything
Jesus
about
Christ,
me. I said
not
what the
you.
Bible plainly says. You're just denying what Jesus said. He said, go and sin no more.
Matthew 16, verse,
You don't know what you're talking about, Carl.
16, verse 16. And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ,
I'm gonna run
the
if you
Son
don't
of the
shut up.
living God.
I'm going to run if you don't shut up.
So Peter confessed Christ as Savior, James.
And
this
it doesn't
is
mean
before
anything.
he denied him. This is
It doesn't mean
before he
anything.
denied Christ.
It doesn't mean
and
anything.
Cut that
It doesn't mean
and
anything.
he cut that servant's ear off.
It doesn't mean anything.
What do you mean it doesn't mean anything?
It doesn't mean what you think it means. You're just jumping to conclusions about it. You're just rationalizing continuing to sin after being so-called born again.
So
Yes, you are.
Peter was not a believer here.
He was
is what
not
you're
born
saying.
again. Apparently.
Peter was not a believer here in Matthew chapter 16.
Carl, are you
whenever
saying,
he confessed
I don't know
Christ.
I don't know. I'll just put it that way. I don't know. But I don't
What
know
does
that it was
verse
a
17
sin.
say?
Hey, Carl. I don't know that it was a sin to cut off the ear. Was it a sin? Was it a
Well,
moment
was
of weakness?
Peter angry? Because
I don't know.
Because Jesse Lee Peterson says, if you're angry, you're not a believer.
Do you
Don't
believe
be
that?
mad. Ooh. Well, Peter was mad, wasn't he? And,
I don't know.
and he cut
I
that
don't
guy's
know.
ear off.
I don't know, Carl. I don't know.
What does Matthew verse 17
You're just
say? And
jumping to a
Jesus
whole lot of
answered and said unto
conclusions,
him,
Carl.
Blessed art thou,
I gotta
Simon
run.
Bar-Jonah, for flesh
I
and
gotta run, Carl.
blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven.
I gotta go. I gotta keep on moving. Bible go-to guy out of Los Angeles, California. Gots to get on the line. Bible go-to guy, how are you doing?
James, how you enjoying the show so far?
Interesting.
It's fantastic out here in Listen Land.
Nice.
Well, you got to understand, James. The thing that Jesse teaches and that you affirm on your show, that it is possible that you don't have to sin anymore, that's terrifying. That is terrifying because we all know we can't change ourselves.
Yeah.
And so there's this thing, this extra pressure when Jesse raises the bar and says you don't have to, in fact, you cannot sin once you've been born again. He changes the whole definition of born again, which is not a guy who keeps losing. You know, it's like Jesse saying you don't have to lose any more football games.
Right.
You don't have to lose anymore. And that's terrifying to people who have lost before and who continue to lose. They're like, wow, that puts a lot of pressure on me, man. There's no way I can't sin. You're putting too much pressure on me. But they don't listen. They don't listen to the end of it, which is you cannot change yourself. You cannot cause yourself to stop sinning. God can do it, and it's called born again.
Right.
But they're so terrified they don't want to hear that, and so they search the scriptures like crazy to save their shallow and a low bar.
Yeah.
You know, you raise the bar low. They have a very low bar for Christians. You can still sin. That's a very low bar.
And you know
so
what?
They like
don't.
to keep
It's like
that
they
bar
don't really.
low.
I noticed that most of us Christians don't really believe in God because they think that you're not going to change.
Right. You're not going to change. You can't, because they know they cannot change. Believe me, a lot of Christians have tried. They've given up drugs only to get back into cigarettes or only to go headlong into women. Or
turn into one of those
sin
Bible
turns into
thumpers that
another.
all they do study for 8 hours a day, like that black guy Earl. He said he studies for 8 hours a day. That's psycho.
No. First of all, he's black. Black people don't study for 8 hours a day. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, so you know that's a lie right away. And that's just a joke. But ain't no way he's cracking that book for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that, James.
Right.
And that very scripture that last guy quoted, he says that we have that he. Oh, so that we must acknowledge our sins so he'll forgive our sins and cleanse us from all evil. Well, if you're cleansed from all evil, you cannot commit evil anymore.
Right.
I don't know why I know why they don't make that.
I think he's thinking that there's a difference between.
Conclusion.
They think that there's a difference between the so-called inner man and the reality, how the people are acting and thinking and feeling and living. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, I think it all stems from they know they can't change themselves, and they're terrified of that kind of high bar.
Yeah.
You know, this is just.
Is that why people cling on to the Jesus is God thing? Because that's the only way that he was able to not sin?
Right. That elevates him above us, and we can never do what he's done and all that stuff. When Jesus said, you can do what I've done and greater.
Right. Interesting.
You know, so all that stuff is too terrifying for them.
Yeah.
Can't handle it.
What a mess.
Well, what a mess. But it makes the show interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Appreciate it, Bible Go-To Guy. Thank you, man.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Take care. I got to get to Nate in PA. Nate, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going well.
What a mess.
You're talking about the calls today or what?
Yeah, it's been one beta after the other.
It's interesting, huh? You gotta check. We gotta check ourselves and expose. And not just be getting along with everybody, allowing evil to continue and fester inside of the people. We got to be perfect, otherwise we're not going to win.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that like we too easily like put ourselves in the same group of the people that we're trying to beat. Like I actually was in the D-Live chat for a minute, and like that whole when the Jewish people got mentioned, boom, the chat blew up with like all this like anti-Jew stuff, and like, fine, I don't care who you hate, you know, it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't bother me.
It's interesting that it excites them, because it should not excite you. Tell the truth, yes, and I acknowledge that we all get caught up in the things that we know about. So these guys know a lot of stuff about the Jews, and they're not a lot of the stuff that they say is true, but there's a lot of stuff that they say that you can't believe because they jump to conclusions about me and about Jesse and about all this stuff, and they're beside themselves. So you got to check yourself.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just I guess put in a category or in a box everything that like you're not totally sure about. But then the problem is, and I have to find this in myself as well, like it's very easy to get lazy with the way that we break things down. And so I think that's like a lot of the stuff in the chats or whatnot. I mean, a lot of it's just, you know, betas, but the whole, if you don't exactly know about something or whatever, you're just like, oh yeah, the Jews were wrong. And you just think it's easy. You get in that clique of just people who are just like, screw the Jews or whatever. And you don't have to think about it. And like, really, you know, like if people are like, there's a problem with the intervention that we've had since, say, World War II with creating Israel, which created other issues. Like, that's one thing to start talking about that. But you can tell it's the same thing with liberals. You can tell when they actually have a position and when they just want to be right about something and just want to fight about something, because they don't come with specific points. It's just the Jews killed Jesus, boom, over, instead of like breaking down like what nowadays is going on that they're so worked up about. But you're right. I mean, I can't believe they get so easily triggered and excited.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I see the these guys in general as like the sons. They're like the sons, right? The sons in a family. And then the mother is the female-minded Jewish people and liberals and all that. And then the fathers are the so-called conservatives, the boomers conservatives, and the rhinos, and maybe even Trump. And they're mad at the mother. And Jesus says, forgive the mother. And so they're saying, oh, you're kissing up to the mother. You know, kind of like that. Yeah. It's as if Jesus and Jesse and Christianity says, forgive your parents, forgive those who wrong you. And forgive your mother for being evil. Forgive your father for being weak. Because the liberals are evil. the conservatives are weak, and the men are weak, the women are evil. And so evil rules, and then the children hate the evil, and then they turn evil, but they're thinking that they're hating the evil because they're good, but they're not good for hating evil.
Yeah, and I'm not Christian actually. Like I'm straight up. So like that may be some of the reasons that I don't understand the hate. Like it may be some emotional thing tied into Christianity and like Christians versus Jews or some nonsense. I can only see it like logically.
I think I understand it because when you look at the evil that's wrought in the world and you look at the people who seem to be leading it the most, although rightly you should also blame everybody who's falling for it, falling in line with it. I don't say, we're not worldly people. We blame each person for the wrong they do. You don't just say, oh, he's a useful idiot. Blacks are too dumb to know better. They are, but you have to hold them responsible. Responsibility in yourself and for each person could solve this thing like that. But, yeah.
Yeah, and lastly, if I could just say, because one point that somebody made was that y'all were like backing down, you and Jesse were like backing down from the question or whatever that nonsense is. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure they won't be satisfied until y'all just scream, screw the Jews. But,
right.
But the big thing and the reason that I like Jesse and like what y'all talk about is like, what's the bigger problem right now? You know what I mean? Like, is the Jews killing Jesus really the bigger issue right now, or is it like the state of the U.S. today and like those issues of today? Like, why do they want you to just spin words about? I don't know. I don't get it. Again, I'm not religious, so like, I can't it's all that.
If you were to find out about this stuff, you would see that they're influencing stuff now, today, that is completely degenerate and debasing to the country. And there is logic to it. In other words, I'm saying that they're right in what they're saying. They're wrong for being mad about it and excited and jumping to conclusions about everybody who's not saying things just so how they would say it. You know what I mean?
Well, they might
who
be
just
right
have
about
some disagreement.
them,
Yeah.
They might be right about them, but I mean, like, also, I mean, every religion is affecting things and like creating issues there. So
yeah,
like,
and in fact, it's not it's more the atheistic ones who are a bigger problem. But yeah, across the board.
I'll have to call back about that.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Appreciate
Great
it, Nate.
show.
Good to hear from you, man. Take care.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right. I got to get to my favorite caller, Maze in Dayton, Ohio. I guess she wants to answer yesterday Rick's question about blacks being oppressed. Give me an example of blacks being oppressed. Maze, how are you doing?
Yes. I'm just fine, James.
Good.
Listening to this today is wild.
Nice.
And listen to Bible Go-To guys still spearing out venom. But
venom?
The question asked,
what venom did Bible Go-To guys spew out?
Nothing having to do with the Bible.
Spew. Yes, it did.
But anyway, in Art, I knew that's where he had been. I told my husband that's where he been. So y'all need to get a pardon from him. He's the only person that couldn't vote for Trump. And he just all walking out with all this noise, and he couldn't even vote at all.
You're judging Art for his past?
No, I'm not judging him for his past. He can't vote. So
why? Because felons can't vote?
Unless they gave him the right to.
Did he say he can't vote?
Excuse me?
Did he say he can't vote? I didn't catch that.
Ask him the next time he come on, and if he couldn't, tell him to be quiet.
But no. He's American. He has the freedom. Just because whether you can vote or not, you still have the freedom of speech. This is America, Maze.
Yes, you have the freedom
and he's
of
a
speech.
man.
I'm saying, why is he complaining about how somebody voted?
If anything, Maze, he should be telling you to be quiet.
Well, I can vote.
Woman?
I don't break the law. Never broke the law. Never want to.
You broke God's law.
And I'm a black
person. You break God's law.
I don't do things to break the law.
God's law.
As y'all think all black people criminals and never looking at
That's not true. I never said that. You're putting words in my mouth. But you break God's law.
Now, they tell Rick that he makes less money than a Caucasian white man. They tell all of us that, the news, and the people that's over the money. They tell you that all the time.
That's the fake
now,
news.
when you be depressed if somebody was telling you that you make $1 less than this man over here.
No, I wouldn't be depressed. First of all, it's not my...
Now.
First of all, Maze, I'm not depressed that people make more money than me. Second of all,
that's not what I said.
Second of all, it's not my business. And third of all, That's pathetic and weak if you get depressed over hearing and being concerned what somebody else makes rather than you. That's envy.
Excuse me?
You need to get over being socialist.
No.
Socialism is envy.
I'm going to tell
Am
you
I
what
right?
you're depressed about.
We're opening the treasure chest.
I'm going to tell you what you're depressed about. Now, can I tell you?
Yes.
And it goes along with what I was just saying. You said white men, Caucasian men, people pushing you to the side. Now, why are you depressed about that?
You shouldn't be depressed about
Why are
that.
you complaining about it?
I'm complaining because I have a freedom of speech. I have the freedom of speech.
No, you're not complaining about freedom of speech. That's what I'm saying. You're having a problem. I ask you what, do y'all think y'all supposed to rule everything and everybody, or do you supposed to share?
In America, hold on, Mace. In America, when we rule, everybody was doing better.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Doing better how?
In every way. Spiritually and physically.
Really?
Yeah, although there is a whole lot of ill-gotten gain. I think that the so-called thriving that we are experiencing is spoiling and polluting people, being polluted by the world.
The water is poison, the air is poison, and all the medication is poison.
I'm not talking about physical poison. Mace, I'm talking about spiritual poison that happens with being spoiled.
Because see, what the Bible go to, we gotta say you can sin and then ask for forgiveness.
And you're just a bitter old woman.
No, you go by God's law.
You're a bitter old black woman.
And y'all don't follow it. It's love thy neighbor as thyself. You don't love yourself, so you can't love your neighbor.
You don't know.
That's what I say. And
you don't see.
What were you so excited about? Why were you so excited yesterday about a man being killed? And you always talking about abortion. Didn't whoever killed that man abort somebody's child?
What are you talking about?
I'm quite sure he had a mother and a father.
Who was I excited about getting killed?
The scientists that you took all the time yesterday to come in and discuss about it. And
I mentioned it. I mentioned it. He was a murderer.
He was a murderer.
Well, I don't think he was a murderer. I just made that up. I don't know. He was a scientist making a nuclear bomb for Iran when they're clearly not supposed to be making nuclear bombs.
Well, none of them should be making nuclear bombs. Nobody should be.
No, you don't know. Okay, Mom. Okay, you're the mom of the world, Maze. You control us. Yeah, you're the mom.
There would be peace in the world if it wasn't for the people out here that love guns and killing and all of these different things. Then you turn around and talk about the black community. They don't start wars.
Great point, Maze. I gotta go.
Doing stuff. No, I know you gotta run. That's what you do when the truth hurts.
Yeah, it's the truth that's hurting. It's not your motor mouth that's hurting my ears. It's the truth.
My motor mouth. You want me to slow it down?
No, don't slow it down.
Why don't you go over the 10 commandments?
I gotta go. Nice talking with you.
People that think that we get checks at the beginning of the month, and the person that said it probably wasn't get his check. He's sitting waiting for the mailman to come. We don't need to wait for the mailman. So with that, James, you have a good one.
Thank you. You too. All right. Man. Thank you to Reckless Bandito, top contributor, and Lin Yen Chin and Cactus Eater Bear, I think is what it is. And, oh, man. And Noah's Ark, Kansas, and definitely not SPLC. Nice. Easily Distracted 06, Malkuth X, Arizona lineman Ryan 82. And just saying, appreciate the support, guys. Thanks again to King Alpha Nerd and Hot Computer Smell. Quickly, in the last 30 seconds, Bob, first-time caller from Ohio. What's up, Bob?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Thank you.
Good.
What's up?
I just want to ask you a question. Because you guys are talking about Jesus Christ being God. I'm not wanting to argue with nobody, but do you believe in the virgin birth?
Yeah.
Okay, now, so he was born of God, so he was not just man. And he could have done the miracles he did of his own, but he chose to submit to the Father, and that's when the Spirit come on him at his baptism. And then he made the statement to people. He said, I and my Father will make my abode in you, will come.
How do you...
That's how we become him. He comes within us and lives within us.
But you said
the Spirit, the Father, and the Son.
You said that he could have done all of that stuff on his own, but he chose to submit to God. How do you know that he could have done all that stuff without submitting to God?
Because he was born of God.
I know, but how does that mean that he could have done all that stuff without submitting to God? because he said,
born of God.
because he clearly said
he was as much a God. He said he said that his only begotten son.
Right.
The rest of us are just adopted.
Right. I agree. I agree
Christ.
with that. Are you saying that he's God though?
Yeah, I do believe he is. I believe he's part of God. I don't want to go as far as saying that he is by himself, because it talks about him being at the right hand of the Father, and even in the Old Testament, God spoke and said, the Lord spoke and said, I'll make salvation of my own right hand. So what I'm really saying though is that he was born.
Yes.
Of the Holy Spirit, and was born of God. So there was an element of God within him.
Right. Yes.
And then he submitted when he got baptized. The Spirit came upon him. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I agree with all that. I don't agree with the part that says that he is God.
Philip, remember when we talked to Philip, he said, Philip told him, will you show us the Father? It will suffice. And what did Philip say? Or God say, Jesus say,
if you've seen me,
you've seen the Father. How long have I been with you?
Right.
Yeah, but he said, how long have I been with you and you haven't seen him?
Right. Isn't that nice?
So he was in him. He was in him.
Right.
But
I
he
agree
was
with
also
that.
born of him too.
Yes.
It's a matter of semantics. I guess you can look at it what you want. But
I think it might be more than semantics though, because it's something. Anyway, Bob, I gotta run. We're over time. Well, how old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I'm 64.
Nice. I love boomers. You're a boomer, right?
I guess you could call me that. I'm old school, but I
like that.
I actually missed my generation.
What an honor. Appreciate your call.
Have a good day, man.
You too. Take care. Rick and the rest of you guys, I'm sorry. I gotta end. The HakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse Lee Peterson's stuff. RebuildingTheMan.com/church for RebuildingTheMan.com/church stuff. Appreciate all your calls, guys. Thank you to everybody. And we'll take care. See ya.